Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beers and Boost. I'm Barry,
I'm Zach.
And I'm Nathan.
and hopefully you noticed the T-shirt this week. I've been on a psych kick for the past couple days, so I had to wear my pineapple shirt, and it's all the great names of Gus. I should put a
Still,
pineapple
I
in
do
the
love
back
it.
seat.
still haven't watched it.
And you're now off the podcast.
Okay, hold on. What?
You heard me. I've never watched Psych.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
one of the best.
you're off the
sitcoms.
podcast.
Yeah.
We're still going to need your. We won't be together. We're still going to need your space to record. But
Okay.
you're off.
You just can't be on it. You know, you're Sam Matt. You're doing the background editing and
Yeah,
not ever saying anything.
I'll just sit back there in that corner and not say anything, just with the mixer.
Yeah. But anyway, we're doing World War Beer, week 4 or 5, whatever. What is time? Who knows? But matchups, don't remember. Either way, we have got Erdinger's Crystal Weissbier and Modelo Negro. The Erdinger Crystal Weissbier, oddly enough, got the flat fives across the board, but somehow ended up as our number 7 seed. And Negro Modelo is our 32nd overall seed.
Ooh.
So, but yet has
Wow.
got a 3.25 from Zach, a 3.5 from me, and a 3.25 from Nathan. So fairly good scores, but somehow ended up as number 32.
The
So
last
it,
one.
it literally is the last seed versus the number 1 seed. I mean, somehow it's number 7, but
And I think this will tell you how long it's been since we had the Erdinger. When I was pouring these, I'm like, oh well, this is another close one. Like this is another like.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Um,
interesting.
So I gotta point it out. You'll see it when we start it, but let's just go ahead and start with Negro Modelo, so that way I can show off my Mexican restaurant mug.
I do have it in my Lost 40 Easy Tiger Mexican lager glass.
I don't. I have it in a nice large glass.
Oh, that's such a good beer. Let's see here. Negro Modelo, according to Beer Advocate, is a 77 overall, 5.4%. As you know, there's nothing on the bottle. It is a Mexican lager. But technically, according to the Untapped, it is qualified as a Vienna lager, which would now make this the 3rd Vienna lager we have had on the podcast, as Yuengling is a light Vienna lager, Sam Adams is an amber Vienna lager, and Negro Modelo is a darker Vienna lager.
Interesting.
So,
So is that just like they're just throwing out like a net? Like it goes in that bucket. That
I
silo.
mean, probably. I mean, a Mexican lager is a base off of a Vienna lager. Like, that is the base of a Mexican lager. So I would assume that this one is just the darker version of what they decided to do.
Okay, so Barry, you're the knowledge guy for us. Like what? I guess I don't have a concept of Vienna lager. Like, what sets that apart from a normal lager or a normal European lager, or is that kind of thing?
The exact things right here for the Vienna lager, according to the Brewers Association, this is an amber bitter European beer category. Number 1, Vienna lager. It should be about 4.5 to 5.5%. It should have a little bit of malty characteristics to it with low hop. It should be a clean lager. A little bit spiciness from some kind of hops. And a significant caramel or roasted aroma is inappropriate. So it should have absolutely none of those characteristics.
Okay.
Does that answer what you were looking for? Maybe
Yeah,
not.
a little bit. A little
Okay.
bit. No, I definitely, when I think of Vienna lager, I was thinking the spiciness.
Mhm.
A forward amount of flavor rather than just kind of a smooth aspect.
It's definitely, if you compare it to a regular kind of European lager or even just a pale lager or anything like that, it's definitely more malt forward and more malt heavy. And it will use This one does not say the types of hops. It just says noble hops. So I would assume your traditional German noble hops or maybe some East Kent Goldings would be okay. All of which do have spicy, citrusy notes to them. In the level of...
Okay. Would that change up at all on the fact that this is a Mexican lager version of that? Do you think?
Not necessarily. I would think because this is a darker version, it should come in with a little bit more of the toasty characters, but not a lot. Just a little bit more maltiness, just a little bit more roundedness, and maybe a little bit more sweetness. Especially considering how this is at the top end of the ABV allowed amount for a Vienna lager. So kind of like a lot like a Sam Adams was, but just with a little bit more malt background.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, we all love this beer. Gonna say that right off the bat. I do think it kind of fits the bill. I don't get any of that roastiness. I get definitely some toastiness because it is a darker version of that type of beer. And the sweetness comes through too, because that it's at the top end of that alcohol output.
Mm-hmm. I hate that it took me so long to try this beer because I'd never had one until we had it on the podcast for this. So, because I would have had it plenty more times. But yeah, I mean, from what you said, it's shocker. It checks all the boxes. But
it's got a nice caramel and biscuit background, like a base. The base is very caramely and biscuity, but not like in a sweet aspect. It's kind of like that bread, a little bit of toast. Kind of like how a base lager would have a breadiness aspect to it. This is just, it saw a little bit of time in the oven. It got a little bit of the sugar caramelized. It's really good base.
The notes you read, didn't it say that like caramel was not allowed?
Of course, I think as soon as you ask a question.
I'm a waiter now.
A significant caramel or roasted aroma is inappropriate.
So a significant.
Not flavor. Yeah, significant.
Okay.
So aspects would be okay, but not for like the main punch should not be that.
Yeah, the exact first line of the flavor profile reads as soft, elegant malt complexity is in the forefront, with a firm enough hop bitterness to provide a balanced finish. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like hop bitterness, but you can tell that there's something there to round it all out.
Yeah, to keep it from getting too sweet. Because of adding in more sugars for the dark color, you'll get a sweeter beer. So
I think the thing that I love most about this beer is the utility of it, and the way that I use it almost primarily is as the offset to something spicy slash. I mean, it's Mexican. I eat it with Mexican food, and it's specifically spicy Mexican food. So
I bought a 6-pack of this because I had seen that there's a shortage of beer in Mexico, and I was like, well, I'm not letting Negro Modelo not be in this house for a little while. So I had a 6-pack of it, and I made chili. And it's like a great base. So when I make chili, I like to make a chili paste. So it's dehydrated chilies that I mix up and then boil them and soften them, and then blend those with beer, coffee, and chicken stock. And that is my flavor base stock item.
That is actually exactly what Eileen and I do as well. And we use this beer as the base.
Yep. It is a very versatile beer. And then, of course, you have to have one while you're making it.
One?
Well, I mean, at least.
Okay. Baseline 1.
Yeah.
Baseline.
Right, okay.
Now, if you're down in 2 and you're making something like a grilled cheese, we might need to have a talk, but...
Actually, the right kind of chili takes a couple hours.
Yeah, so you can get through 2, 3.
6. What?
But we've talked about the Negro Modelo, maybe not in depth, but about it and about its versatility, about its complexity, about how it meets the standards. But let's move over to somehow one of our highest scoring beers that didn't get a #1 overall seed. Just pure beauty in a glass.
And this, like, half-inch thick head has been there for 15 minutes now.
Oh boy.
I don't even know where to start. It's so smooth and crisp and clean. I guess it is a Crystal Weiss beer.
It is sweeter than I remember,
It is a little sweet.
but not off-putting
Mm-mm.
in the sweetness. I mean, damn, that is an amazing beer.
It is fantastic. Now, if you want to listen to a really, really in-depth conversation about what a Crystal Weiss beer is, listen to our first episode of World War Beer, the tournament version, where we did our #1 overall complete seed, which is Warhenstoffener's Crystal Weiss beer. Which basically, what we found out is Crystal Weiss beers are just wheat beers with a little bit lighter, heavy flavor and a clearer profile.
They're filtered.
Yeah, filtered, where regular Weiss beers are not.
Yeah.
So there
the
should be
crystal.
no haze.
Crystal clear. And it
Yeah,
is.
Which it is.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a little web right up on it. Oh man, that is.
It's kind of like the Asahi. Like, it's just simple. Like, you get some, like, weedy, grainy. There's almost, like, that heavy funk, but not really. It's just easy to down.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not full banana.
No.
In fact, it's barely any banana. It's
the
there in the appropriate amount.
Yeah, it's the LaCroix effect of flavorings.
Yeah. Their website has it down with a whole bunch of different stuff. See, do they actually allow you to see? They do not let you see what hops and wheat and what barley are in it, but it is a wheat beer. They say gets its shining, crystal clear appearance from intensive filtration. See here. It is 5.3%. And they say it goes with everything food-wise. Beer Advocate gave it an 81. That's pretty light, I would think. But yeah, their website has almost nothing on it. There's actually more on the bottle than there is from their website. Erdinger is brewed all naturally using traditional Bavarian processes. Thank you for enjoying Erdinger, the world's #1 Hefeweizen.
I remember us reading that and being confused. I think that's where we started to figure out that they're related.
Yeah. The Hefeweizen is the base.
Mm-hmm.
This is the lighter, smoother brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the head on top is super creamy, at least for mine.
Oh, yeah. Mine kind of dissipated a little bit, but when you get... It's kind of... Okay, so I don't think I've ever said this in the show. You don't have the head just to look at it. It brings with it bubbles and nose and aromas, and it brings a smoothness to your palate before you get the beer. It basically is a way to open up your palate to what you're about to enjoy. And beers that don't have a head kind of sometimes have a less flavor profile and have a little bit less to smell. Well, when you've got a beer like this and the creamy, foamy head just kind of hits you right when you start to take a sip, and you're like, ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you get all the flavor that comes in behind it. Your nose is able to pick up a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
good.
Beers, in a way, especially the way that we're grading them and tasting them, are like an entire meal. We have the starter, which is the nose and the head, and that kind of like establishes what the tone of the meal is going to be. And then you have the entree, which is that throughput of flavor, which honestly, a lot of the beers that we've tried have lacked. That's where they fall apart, is where because some a lot of the beers that we like, they have really good aroma and back end, that end of the meal, but they don't have that hefty punch of flavor. And
Right.
I think honestly, the thing that stands out about almost all 32 of our World War beer contestants is that they have at least something in all three parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say this one has a pretty solid, complete follow through. I mean, it's not intense. It's not arrogant bastard, but
Yeah.
I love that beer, but fuck that beer.
I finished that beer and was tasting it for like another half hour, I swear.
Crystal Weiss is like, it is in a way perfection in a glass. And I think that's kind of why it got Fives all the way aboard. And I think when we first originally had it, we were talking about that, and that it has the head retention, it has the appearance, it has the nose, it has that first initial taste, it has a little bit of taste that lingers and changes a little bit, and then the aftertaste, you get that actual, yep, there's a little bit of heavy there, but not a lot. You get a little bit of that clove, you get a little bit of that banana, you get a little bit of that actual funk that's in a heavy, but it's never too much. And it's so well, everything flows, everything has symmetry. It's just damn good.
It is a very good beer.
I don't think of this beer so much as number 7, so much as it's like 1F. Like,
Yeah.
And I think all three of us, I think we're all suckers for this type of beer. And so if it's made well, then
have we had one we didn't like yet?
No.
We had a super banana one. I don't know if it was Crystal. I don't know if it was Crystal.
We had, didn't we have the Spaten Heavy?
I think you might be right.
Let me look back. Let's see what we got here.
Don't say that brewery's name around me ever again.
Yeah.
We had a Banana Runts beer that none of us liked.
Yeah, that might have been it.
That was Eagle Brewing Banana Bread Beer. And that got 0.25s from everybody.
I remember that one.
I think it's the Spaten Optimator.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, any of those Spatens.
No, okay. Actually, the Spaten Optimator is a Doppelbock.
Oh.
But it got really bad scores.
It was not good.
So there is nothing on our World War Beer season, the season of World War Beer. There was no Heavy or wheat beer or Weiss beer that got below a 3.5.
Okay.
Solid scores all around.
So yes, I do think we like these beers.
Maybe we're biased.
But it also helps when your brewery has been around since like 1802.
They're pretty old.
I will say, I think we all kind of agreed on the Spaten. Like the fact that that brewery's been around for like a few centuries.
It was one of the older ones too, yeah.
And
haven't figured it out.
Actually sells. Well, no, I think we all agree that their beer just doesn't travel. Like,
yeah, could be.
Because they're still one of like the main ones that you go to. Like if you're out at Oktoberfest, you'd go to the beer hall for Spaten and be like, okay, cool, awesome, let's do this. But
yeah, I mean, Spaten's a huge brewery still. The one that we have not had on for World War Beer, and I kind of feel bad that we didn't, but we never had a Paul Enner.
Paulaner, yeah.
Yeah, they make, I don't remember their Hefeweizen being this good, but their Hefeweizen is probably the most popular one in the world. And I do regret that we didn't get one of those, but at that point we had already had like 4 weeks of German beers. We had to move on.
We could have kept going for another 4 weeks.
Yeah. But no, this Crystal Weiss beer is fantastic. Thinking it might be time to make a decision.
Yeah, I'm going back to the Modelo to see. It's
really, really tough. Only only because of the things that the Modelo brings out in you.
It's also
The Crystal Weiss beer is the better beer.
Yeah, Modelo is also a lot easier to obtain. Well, usually, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Which, as we found, everything
Okay.
that we found easily is now unfindable.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. My vote is for the Crystal Weiss beer, Erdinger, because it is just so well made. It is so perfectly condensed into what it should be. If I had my druthers and it went with almost all the food that I eat, and if it was part of a meal, I'd say I'd probably drink Modelo more. But I think the Weiss beer is probably, if I had to just choose, like, okay, the better flavor, the better, beer, that's what I'm going with.
I'm in the same boat.
The Crystal Weiss beer, like, first sip after shutting up for a minute and sipping it, and then going right back to the Negro Modelo, you get a real difference of, okay, the Negro Modelo is good, but it is not great. And the Crystal Weiss beer is not just great, it's damn perfect.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they got all fives from us.
Yeah, it's not a competition, but I'm kind of surprised that the Negro Modelo in my book made me think for a minute. Like, when I first started drinking, I was like, man, that's a really good beer. I don't know. Is this Weiss beer going to handle it? And you drink the Weiss beer, and you're like, yeah, that's really good, but that Negro was really good. And you go back to it, and you're like, dang it. Nope, never mind. No.
And I don't mean to look so far ahead, but the fact that this is in a completely different region than the Weihenstephaner, we might be looking at a finals matchup.
Yeah, I think that is why it got. I think I remember us talking about our number one seeds and wanting to see what might happen. So this beer, not Negro Modelo, Erdinger Crystal Weiss beer is in the same bracket with Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, but if it beats Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, it will have to go up against maybe Sam Smith Lager.
Ooh. Those are
just to get
bouts.
to the finals. Like,
these episodes are going to be like 2 hours long by the last little bit of this.
Yeah, and
they might be that long for the Bitter 16. Like,
Maybe.
Yeah,
there's some matchups that you're going to be like, hell if I know. I don't.
Well, before we go get our second round of beers, I do have to say, guys, I don't know if you saw it or not. Originally, when we put this list out, viewers out there for you, we were originally going to do the Bitter 16 in person and finally get some semblance of being back together. And I want to ask you guys this. I'm not really sure if we should, as Arkansas just had 500 outbreaks, or 500 positive tests, and we're doing less testing than we ever have.
I was actually talking to Nathan about that when he dropped off the Koenig Ludwig. Ford reopened some of their factories on Monday, and they've had to close them already because they've had confirmed cases.
Yeah, it's not that I don't trust you guys. It's more so like, how are we going to be setting examples for people out there that should be doing what we're doing? It just means that we're going to have to, if we don't do it in person, it's going to be harder and harder to find the beers.
Yeah.
Because we're the ones that are going to keep buying them.
I will say the beers that I'm pretty sure that's going to win. I've been trying to get 2 of them and not drink them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to be responsible, I think we need to make sure that we're distancing ourselves as much as possible. And the fact that this works means that we need to do it as long as possible relative to what's going on in the world. I will say, some of these beers, because of distribution issues, because of all of this, because of the COVID stuff, we might run into some serious issues in obtaining the same beer for later rounds.
Yeah.
And if that gets the case, if we If we have proven ourselves to be healthy through all of this, then we might maybe not record together, but we might need to end up like splitting some beers into like some sippy cups.
I got
Just to make sure all of us and dropping them off on porches to make sure that we get the right ones.
I've got a ton of mason jars, so if we need to, we can go straight southern, drink out of mason jars.
All right, I have some myself. So
2 drawers in the kitchen.
Damn.
We don't use Ziploc bags, so we've pretty much cut out plastic in almost every way in our household, and to do that, we're using mason jars. So
that's a good idea.
We have a lot of them, but anyway, our next matchup is König Ludwig Weissbier, another wheat beer, versus Boddington's Pub Ale,
which we found. Maybe the last one in existence, but we'll be back.
All right.
It's where we keep all the like sparkling waters and stuff like that.
Yeah. Human organs, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All organs, not just human.
Yeah. Pipe organs, those kind of things.
I'm wondering if I'm just going to leave this in for the we're back.
And we're back magically with some more beers.
I need to figure out like transition effects, so just like smash in all 3 of us.
Well, let's smash down some Boddington's Pub Ale and some König Ludwig Weissbier. One of the hardest beers in Northwest Arkansas to find, but shout out Liquor World. You always got us covered. Except
Seriously.
I looked today, and they still don't have Sam Smith Organic Lager. They got everything else, but still no Sam Smith.
Macadoodles didn't either. They had more like varieties of Sam Smith, but not the organic lager.
I can confirm that. They have like 5, 6 different Sam Smiths, but none of the lager. It's like, yeah.
Boddington's Pub Ale is number 23 overall, and König Ludwig is number 6 overall. König Ludwig got, surprisingly enough, 3 5s across the board. And Boddington's Pub Ale got a 3.5 from Zach, a 3.75 from myself, and a 3.75 from Nathan. And just because it looks so fucking good, let's go ahead and start with it. Boddington's Pub Ale.
I didn't pour mine heavy enough.
That's smooth.
It's not got... There's not a whole lot going on. There's a little bit of bitterness in there, but it is very smooth, almost creamy.
It's kind of got a because of the smoothness, it's got like a watery bitter. Like that's what it tastes like to me. Because that bitterness stands out in my mind.
I mean, I can still taste it on my tongue right now, but yeah, it is a little watery now that you say that. I can definitely tell that.
But I don't know if it's so much watery as it's not the heavy carbonation, the bubbles that we're used to because of that nitrogenated smoothness to it.
Could be.
So the stylistic guidelines, the English style bitter is a very sessionable, lower alcohol, malt-driven style. Broad style description commonly associated with cask conditioned beers, which this is supposed to be. That's part of the reason why it is a little bit watery, and the nitrogen-based carbonation is there because in a cask beer, sometimes it's not even carbonated.
Yeah.
Then it's a light to medium body, gold to copper in color with a low residual malt sweetness. Hop bitterness is at a medium at most. Commercial examples are not Boddington's Pub Ale, but you're supposed to drink it in this style, British style pint glass, at 50 degrees.
Forgot the thermometer again.
Okay.
Which I do have a 20-ounce version of that glass. I should have done that. Oh, well.
So we might need to come back to that.
I need to definitely come back to that one, but it's very smooth. It's got a little bit of bitter. It is a little light. I mean, isn't Boddington's like 4.2%?
I don't think it's very high.
4.6%. So yeah, very, very much so a session beer. It is. You are meant to have 6 or 7 of these at the pub. Pretty good biscuit flavor, light malt. Light hop, but enough there.
Mm-hmm. You can tell there's some there, but
it's a pretty standard, what you would think, British bitter.
I think rather than looking for a complex sense of balance in this beer that we get from some of the other beers that we've had, this is about, we just want to provide a conveyance for this one flavor.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they succeed.
A little bitter.
In my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it made it here.
It did.
It did. All right. Well, then let's move it on to König Ludwig. As we were just talking about the Crystal Weiss beer being a lighter, heavy flavor, this is a full, heavy.
Whew.
This is a heavyweight, if you will.
Good job.
Good, Nathan.
Damn.
That's such a good beer.
Again.
I'm usually not one for heavies, but damn.
Oddly enough, commercial examples, König Ludwig is not on it.
We've been failing today.
That's a heavy.
Yep.
That is definitely the Crystal Weiss beer. Flavors turned up to 10.
Yep.
And it is hazy. It's very hazy. That is truly an unfiltered wheat beer.
Mm-hmm.
You get the flavor of the wheat. You get the classic Hefeweizen, clovey, banana-y, estery, yeasty flavors. It's basically Germany's version, or Germany's answer to Belgian yeast.
I think that was a shot at Nathan.
It wasn't, but
I felt that come across my bow. You're not wrong. I mean, the idea about that kind of estery aspect to it is the same. I do think flavor wise, I think I just prefer that Belgian yeast, maybe more of the stone fruit aspect of it, to the banana-y aspect of this. In terms of that aspect, other than that, like this beer, it's not, again, like the previous round, this is not too banana-y. It's much more imposing of a banana flavor than previously.
This one, is there. There's not that moment of, wait, was that banana? Like, it's there.
It's not a hint.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not anywhere near the level I've had in some Hefeweizens before.
Oh, no.
This is not
That's usually
banana.
what turns me off to them and why I never drink them is because I've had so many that are just banana.
There's
I think
some,
the spice in this beer is what gets me.
there's some other spice in it, and I can't quite put my nose on what it is. And the clove is there. It's not nutmeg, but it's another hard spice like that.
Allspice?
Is it, having come off that Einstuck, is this coriander?
It might be coriander. Now, they probably don't put coriander in it, but that's the yeast. That's the flavor coming from the yeast.
It's that aspect of spice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting almost as much that as I am the clove.
Mm-hmm.
which balances really well.
If it's not that, it's like a star anise kind of.
It's not as rich as a star anise. A star anise is like, as soon as it's there, it kind of almost overpowers everything.
Lost Nathan again.
Oh.
Always on the second part. We'll be right back.
But as we were saying, it's not quite star anise, I don't think. Star anise just has a very, very prominent flavor. It kind of like a clove, in that, like, if you've ever seen a star anise, it looks like a fucking star. Like, if you take a sliver of one end and you drop that in a beer, you're gonna taste that.
Yeah.
Kind of like with a clove, where if you split a clove in half, you're gonna taste that. I think that if it was star anise, it would be much more prevalent in the coriander. But it's something along those lines. It's in that family, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But that's also what Belgian yeast does. Belgian yeast has so many other esters and fruitiness to it, and you're like, I don't know what all of you are. And that's
a melting pot of spices and flavors.
That's why I compared it. Not a dig, but I compared it to the Belgian, the country over.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, it got across the board.
One thing I do have to say is, you can't see it in this Lagunitas glass that I have, but I have absolutely no head.
No, me neither.
And that is a major downfall for a German wheat beer. Like, that is quintessential part of a German wheat beer. It has to have a head. It has to have the appearance.
We went
I
over
hate
this
to
last
sound like
week.
a broken record, but last week we talked about the fact that none of our wheat beers have had heads.
Yeah, other than the one we just poured. But it is kind of annoying that one doesn't, and the Boddington's is still looking perfect.
Looking strong.
Mine's died down quite a bit, but it's still there.
Boddington's might be the easiest drinking beer I've had in a long time.
That just goes down.
It's really good, especially coming from the Weiss beer, or the Hefe, whatever you want to call it. The bitterness really comes out. Which it may be the temperature too. Mine was very cold.
Having had that again, that bitter flavor is delicious. It's just, I love it.
They are in massive, stark contrast. In the idea and the execution. And my opinion on them. I don't even have to go back to it. I'm picking Boddington's.
Oof.
Upset coming from this guy.
I thought I was going to be the zag to you guys' zig on this one. I'm picking Boddington's on this one. I like the experience of that beer more. The bitterness, the ease with which it drinks. Because I am so hooked on these crystal Weiss beers, the complications of having that extra banana-y, Hefe flavor, and knowing that you can get that in a more pure form, a more filtered essence of it, just in my mind, because we're going through these in succession, it knocks this one down a little bit, even though this is an amazing beer.
This is it's a fantastic Hefeweizen.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going Boddington's. And oh my god, we gotta really track down some more of that, because
I grabbed the last can that I could find.
I've got 3 in my chest freezer right now. And Liquor World, again, a shout out to Liquor World, had another 4-pack on the shelf today when I was looking. So
I have to go grab that.
But
yeah,
Zach, what are you picking?
Zachary?
I think I'm gonna pick Boddington's as well. Nathan's argument on the the Weiss beer. Drinking it, it's really good. It's an amazing beer, but it makes me want a Crystal Weiss beer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we had last week. It was the Doppelbock just made you want a different beer.
That 12. I wanted that quad.
Yeah.
That's why I went with what did we go with?
I just edited that today.
But
Einstock.
Yeah, let's revisit that, because that was the fact that, like, again, this is Nathan talking about Belgians, and even though it wasn't a Belgian, the Doppelbock, because it was close to a type of Belgian, was just like that one, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's shocking. Well, I mean, there's always one team that's a 2 or a 3 or a 4 seed that goes down. And Koenig Ludwig, I'm sorry, you just lost to Boddington's Pub Ale, who's owned by AB InBev.
Oof.
So through acquisition, let's point that out. Like,
yes,
and as far as we know, has been discontinued. Which all the more reason for it just to win the entire competition.
Yep.
Here you go, viewers. Here's a beer you'll never see again.
AB InBev. Can't believe we just picked a World War beer made by AB InBev. But whatever. It's good when it's good.
Yeah, not very
It's
often,
good.
but
Yeah.
The
guys on
when it's good, it's good.
the guys on Friends were correct. I don't know if you guys have watched Friends.
I've seen some.
They have a whole series of episodes that take place in London, and when they come back, they all rave about Boddingtons. So
You might have. I think you told us that once.
yeah. So
Well, there's a reason I keep picking up the one that won.
Yeah.
It's just it's more fun to drink.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to find, if it truly is discontinued and we can no longer find it, we have to find something similar to that, some kind of other English pub ale.
Yeah.
they're out there. We can do that.
We can do that for later episodes. We can hopefully find, when COVID's over, if it ever is over, which it probably won't be, but still, Zach, whenever you and I go to London, we'll find quite a few, and maybe we'll know which ones to bring with us.
In 2022?
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, Koenig Ludwig upset.
Oof. Fives across
Upset.
the board and got knocked down by a, 3-5, 3-7-5?
3 5s and 3 7-5s.
Every now and then a 12 seed takes out a 5 seed. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every year.
Yeah.
Just a bad day for Koenig. Weren't on their game.
Then
It was more of a matchup issue if we had to take. Yeah. Can't say they weren't on their game.
Yeah.
right then. So got those two moved on. Yep. We are good to go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matchups left for the round of 32.
This is going to take so long. I guess that's why we're doubling up on beer episodes.
Doubling up on beer episodes. We've got 4 matchups. 8 beers coming to you next week.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 8 beers for this week. We're hoping that you're following along with us. We're posting these up on YouTube. We're posting these up wherever you get podcasts. If you want to listen and just drink and go, man, these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Couldn't look what's great. And you think that? Hit us up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Come
at me, bro.
Yeah. If you think it and you let us send us a picture of your beer that you got drinking, hit us up on Instagram at Beers and Booze Pod.
Mm-hmm.
Call us dumbasses in our podcast comments on YouTube if you want.
Yes.
Don't give a shit. We're here for you guys, and I hope you like Boddingtons.
I think
Hopefully
we
so.
said it a long time ago, but we're lovers, not experts. So
Did we just cut there?
yeah.
Yeah.